up, fishing fam? We are in Texas. Doing a little pre-fishing for the Kayak Adventure Series event in Paris, Texas. Got the kayak, the new XTR130 all rigged up and ready to go. Took my sweet time this morning since we were at the Bassmaster Classic Expo yesterday. But found a little lake. I think a lot of people are going to be fishing over at Boat Arcs, but on a little lake that if the wind really kicks up on Sunday like they're saying, I should have some protection. But there's also supposed to be some fish in here. Starting out with my favorite little tackle frog through a big blade chatterbait. A little bit to start with, but since I've got a bunch of like water up in the grass, I'm trying to work this tackle through some of it. See if I can get somebody's shallow water attention. Water temp is 59 degrees. I've got a good one on, but he's got me down in the stuff. It's a big one. He's got me down in some stuff. Yep, he's still pulling. Okay, there he is. This is a big fish. I'm in like a bunch of different reeds and stuff. I'll try to keep pulling forward with the spot log. Keeps getting in the stuff. Back. Well, I can't tell what he's got me wrapped around or whatever, but he keeps pulling. I'm gonna have to cut the spot lock off. Try to drift back. He's under something because he'll pull and I'll feel him every now and then, but the rest of the time it's like can't move him. There, he got out of whatever it was he was on. Oh, that's a big fish. Please jump. Oh my God, that's a big fish. That is a big fish. Big, 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 big. Big fish. Oh, big fish. Oh my goodness. Oh, I got a big one. I got a big one.
When does that tournament? Tomorrow or Monday?
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting it. Got him right back in the water so this boater couldn't see me either. That was a hell of a fucking fight.
Dude, I bet that was fun.
So after I caught that big one, I went and checked a couple other areas, not really wanting to hook anything because I figured I was onto a little something something, but I kind of wanted to get out of there and get off of that lake and let it rest for the next morning. Now, I figured I had probably seen 2 or 3 other people. I talked to some friends that I'd fished with at the Kayak Adventure Series, Wisconsin. So I kind of figured, hey, I'm on a good lake. You know, if these guys are here, then they've probably heard what I've heard. And, you know, maybe we've got a little juice. And my buddy actually caught a giant, like an 8-pounder. And so, you know, we weren't making too much noise about the big bass we caught. We kind of just wanted to get out of there, knowing what we knew, pack up, and be ready to get out there first thing tomorrow morning. Well, tournament morning rolls around, and I get over there, and there are literally 25 or so kayaks in the parking lot. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I figured a lot of these guys would be fishing up on the new boat arcs. They've seen other YouTubers make videos with giant fish in there, and I guess they kind of had been there days before I got there and found kind of what I found, because the who's who was there. Russ Snyder's was there, Jordan Westerman was there, a bunch of other guys were there, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You know, Abby Abonanza and Jody Queen, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I hadn't found any other place to fish. That was my one spot that I checked out. It was productive, it was good. I found big fish and thought, you know, maybe I was gonna be sharing that lake with 3 or 4 others, not another 20 plus people. So I bailed. You know, we knew that there was gonna be crap weather for a lot of the day, especially in the morning. And so I looked at the map real quick. There was another one of the lakes, like 5-6 minute drive up the road, and just went and launched and fished blind. I got no video footage of that because being that I'm trying to support the sponsors that support the Kayak Adventure Series, I had picked up a new GoPro Hero 13. Truth be told, I used GoPros way back in the early days of this channel, but a few years ago I switched over completely to DJI camera. You know, it's easy for me to just put one on the old stick behind me, run a USB cord to it with an external battery, hit play, and let it run all day long. No overheating issues. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I've been using like the Action 3s and then Action 4 over the last year, whatever, and this year picked up Action 5. I've got DJI drone. I've got DJI Pocket 3 for like my vlog style videos. I even actually do videos like this when I'm on the road. That's the camera that I sit in front of. But I picked up a GoPro Hero 13 just to support the sponsors that are supporting the Kayak Adventure Series. Had one battery for it, which I was like, I don't need a battery. I'm going to plug it into the USB port. I get out there, I get everything all set up. I can't put it up yet because it's raining when we first start. Well, it's not raining, it's storming. But I actually go get into a cove. Finally, the weather clears up. You know, I'm fishing. I'm like, oh, I can put my camera up. I go to hook the GoPro up behind me, plug it in, and I get this error message. And I'm like, ugh. I kind of remember that from the old days. You got to run some developer tool on it to unlock it so you can do it. I'll get into all that later. No footage from that day, except for this awesome drone footage captured by Drew and then thrown in the video by Jake when he was doing the final cut. As you can see, I'm standing up and pitching around in a bunch of junk, standing up comfortably in the XTR. This kayak has been awesome, stable. I mean, it is like fishing off of a boat dock. Very, very nice, stable platform. So if you're a bigger guy looking for a solid, I'll say lake kayak, I ain't trying to dump this thing in the rivers, but if you're looking for a solid kayak as a bigger guy, or you want to be able to carry all your gear and then some, the Bonafide XTR is a really great platform. You'll want to check it out. Now, fishing for me, I'd never been here, and the bite was, yeah, I mean, I talked to a couple other guys that were there crappie fishing, and they were telling me, and one other guy who had probably run in the same situation I did, that this lake was, they said there's giants in here, but they're few and far between. You know, I fished all day, and, you know, we got through the storms. It cleared up a little bit in the afternoons. It was a little nicer. I did think I managed 3 fish, including this fish, and also this fish, pretty much on back-to-back casts, after I finally gave up throwing everything else I knew, I grabbed my old faithful tried and true a black and blue jig and started pitching around wood. And wouldn't you know, almost on back-to-back cast, I get one 18-inch fish and then another 18-inch fish. I basically stuck with that pattern for the rest of the day. I think I ended up with 3 fish total to salvage, you know, at least a little bit of not be completely embarrassed. But, you know, just going fishing. One of the actual real cool things about when I was out there, I was fishing in the Bonafide XTR, and this was my first like road trip with it. I tested it out a few times on my home lake back home, and we had this big trip going to Texas, you know, planned out. And so I worked really hard to get the XTR ready, and this was the first tournament that I fished it in, and you know, it was an absolute blast. And but man, I tell you what, I have never been so comfortable standing and fishing in a kayak. It's hard for me to stand and fish on the bank, but being able to stand in a kayak like this, just to naturally set my feet apart and stand there and shift my weight with no fear of tipping one way or the other, absolutely wonderful. And I'm almost going to say it's almost therapeutic to be able to stand and fish that way, because the boat kind of takes some of the pressure off of your knees. And so I was really able to pick apart and really make long pitches and really work these areas of cover and have no fear of setting the hook and really swinging on a fish and then sitting down to kind of fight them in. But they did a great job of capturing, you know, me in the XTR, kind of showing its capabilities as a bigger guy with bad knees and bad back. So if you're looking for a bigger boat for fishing lakes and whatnot, man, I'm telling you what, this Bonafide XTR130 is definitely something else. Is this something I'm going to fish creeks and rivers in? Oh, no way. If you're one of the guys who competes and does all that stuff, you'll definitely want to have a different yak for throwing in, you know, shallower rivers, creeks, and things like that. But they make like Bonafide RVR, they make inflatables, they make other smaller kayaks that are more throw and go if that's more your style. But if you're looking for a big lake, big water kayak, man, or you have limited mobility like I do and you're not really out there dragging around in the creeks anyway, like I have not been doing for the last several years until I lost a bunch of weight, this Bonafide XTR is really something else. But it turns out all of the winning fish and several of the people who placed in the money fished on the lake that we practice at over there at Crockett Lake. And I'll run a little montage of some of those catches here at the end of the video. But I wanted to stop for a minute and thank our hosts for the Kayak Adventure series over at the Hidden Grove RV Camp. And they have got such a wonderful setup. It's located between the Lake Bodarks, which is the big famous, you know, new fishery there in Texas that they just flooded, and an equal direction in the other way is another lake that they've filled with fish and are flooding, and you know, are going to be making another big bass factory. But if you're looking for some place to sit and camp between all of these locations, including like 5-6 minutes away from Crockett Lake, which is highly underrated. I think that's one of those lakes that the locals know that if the other ones are crowded, they can go over here and smash and put up big numbers. And boy, I sure get it. But here, let me introduce you to the managers of the Hidden Grove Campground and let them tell you a little bit about it. First of all, introduce yourselves, tell us where we're at, and give us all the details of this wonderful location I just spent a week at.
Yep. Well, I'm Brian Pierce. I'm the general manager here of Hidden Grove. And
I'm Kat Pierce, so I'm also general management as well.
Tell us a little bit about the campgrounds, the amenities you offer for both RV folks and people who are just looking for some place to stay while they come and fish. And we'll do a quick walk around of this beautiful little spot that we're sitting in right now. But tell us about what you got going on here at the Hidden Grove.
well, we have 16 cabins. We have 15 primitive campsites, which absolutely are just gorgeous area out here into the timber. And then we have 144 RV sites.
And then we have this 2-bedroom, 2-bath VRBO apartment that's available as well, can house up to 7 people. So.
Yeah, and it's absolutely fantastic up here. There's also a few ponds on the property, and noticed some kayaks out there. So hey, you got a bunch of kayak folks that stopped by this week, but saw a lot of kids running around and playing, riding their bikes and fishing the banks. And saw some kayaks up there, you know, that people can look like they can, you know, put out on the water. And
we also have a pool. That's a big thing here.
Beautiful,
so we
clean
have a
pool, especially in
pool.
Texas when it gets hot, I'm sure.
Correct.
A lot of people are going to be loving the cool down for there, too.
Lots of hiking trails, things like that, go all the way through the property.
Yeah, excellent.
So
Perfect.
lots of outdoor activities.
We've had a wonderful time this week. They've been excellent hosts. If you're in the Paris, Texas area, be sure to check out the Hidden Grove community area here, run by wonderful people, and you guys will really enjoy it.
Yep. And we do offer also for our military, we do offer a discount.
Yep, absolutely.
12% discount off of any stay.
Excellent, excellent.
So.
Now, these folks were absolutely wonderful. It was such a great place to stay. I truly enjoyed it. And if I'm ever back down in that area and I'm just looking for some place to go hit these new lakes, especially and visit Crockett again, this campground is definitely where I'm going to be staying. It was absolutely fantastic, and they have wonderful hosts. Now let's jump back to the Kayak Adventure Series tournament itself and look at some of the footage from the guys who absolutely smashed them on the lake that I should have stayed at. Now, how cool is it? A guy from Ohio goes down there and absolutely smashes them, has an awesome adventure, and just lays into them. But I have to say, as fun as the tournament is, it's always about the people that you're staying with, hanging out with, that just make it a true adventure when they talk about the Kayak Adventure Series. The evening before we all split up and left to go home, we were sitting around a campfire. Marty Hughes was putting on a little clinic about the Nico rigs and the heads that he makes and sells and his techniques for rigging. And I mean, he's actually got me fired up. He hooked me up with some of those heads, and I'm actually putting together a rod and reel combo, which we'll talk about here in the future, that I'm going to use to absolutely take my time and learn to focus and really get better at throwing a Nico rig. I throw a wacky rig a lot. I throw a shaky head a lot. So I've tried all of these different finesse type techniques, but the Nico is one of those that reminds me again like a wacky rig. One of the things I love about a wacky rig or a nose hook fluke is that hook being right there. And once you pin a fish, it really does a great job of keeping them on the line while you're fighting them in. So I can see how the Nico does the same thing, but just a little bit faster fall rate. And I'm really interested in learning about it. But let me tell you, If you're looking for not the super high-end competition like the Bassmaster or some of that stuff, you got to give the Kayak Adventure Series a try. They have tournaments for, you know, individuals. If you want to team up with somebody, you can do that. Truth be told, at the Springfield, Ohio event coming up in June, I'm going to be partnering up with my buddy old Darren Wendell of Wendell Fishing, the guy who beat me and my team in the last half an hour for that Knucklehead Championship. But I'm telling you, if I was going to lose, there's no better person to lose to. So he and I are going to team up over at Ohio for the Kayak Adventure Series up there. If you're anywhere in the Midwest, come join us. Springfield, lakes, rivers, creeks, whatever you like to fish. There's tons of stuff in bounds. It's not super high stress. It's just a lot of fun. You can fish for the micro bag tournament. You can fish in the team tournament, or you can fish in the individual tournament and come hang out with everybody and just shoot the breeze. I've been to a few of them now, and it's an absolutely blast. It's a great time. I'm looking forward to this one, and then I'm looking forward for the one in July up at St. Cloud, Minnesota, chasing, again, big smallmouth bass. Thanks for following along again on yet another Kayak Adventure Series video. We'll see you in the next one, and as always, get outside when you can. Make some memories, one cast at a time.